Hey guys, on today's video we're going to discuss why it is that you don't feel good enough and also 6 ways to stop thinking that you're not good enough. And hang around to the end because I'm going to share with you a personal story of something that I've struggled with where I didn't feel good enough. So that and more coming up next. So welcome. If this is your first time joining me, my name's Tom Fulks and this is Moving Forward with Tom. On this channel we discuss not only what it feels like to live with anxiety and depression, but also things that we can do to overcome those feelings that we deal with on a daily basis. If you would, I would love you to join me along this journey by simply clicking the subscribe button and turn on notifications, which is the little bell, and that'll notify you every time I upload a new video. And if you find any value in this content today, I'd love you to hit the thumbs up button because that lets YouTube know that it's valuable content and they'll share it with someone else. So let's get into it with why it is that you feel like that you're not good enough. You know, I sit there and I thought about this before I started to record this, and I thought about, man, where do these feelings even come from? And a lot of them come from our childhood. We can, when we're kids, we don't really know how to deflect things and we take everything to heart. I can tell my little granddaughter about anything and she believes it. And the same thing as us when we're kids. We believe what we're told. So if we're told while we're growing up that you're fat, you're stupid, you're not smart enough, you're not, man, that starts creeping in on us and we start believing that. And in our own mind starts becoming our own enemy because we start believing the things that are said to us as children. But it can also be developed over the years, and we can bury that feeling, and as we get older we get a little confidence, but then it can happen again when we're in school and we go with these other kids and all of a sudden you start getting made fun of because of your haircut. I remember when I was in grade school I had a pineapple haircut, and I remember the first day of kindergarten getting almost laughed out of the room, and I was so embarrassed. And for those of you that don't know what a pineapple haircut is, it's when your hair is completely buzz cut but you have bangs. Yeah, that was me. So there's certain things that we can do to help us to overcome this, but what I want to talk about first is why these emotions even kick up in us. And one thing I want us to remember is that hurting people hurt people. So people that are making fun of you as a kid, and people that are at work that are harassing you, or even a spouse, or even friends and family, they've probably got something going on in their life too. And that's just kind of a way of them deflecting what's going on with their life onto you because they feel like shit themselves. So one thing that I really want us to look at is the feelings of inadequacy that we feel, the feelings that I'm just not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not skinny enough, I don't have a nice car, I have a crappy house, I don't want people to see where I live. All these feelings of shame and doubt. And I want us to look at, man, where do these things really, truly come from? Because I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter how pretty you are, how smart you are, how much money you have, what kind of car you drive. None of that matters because people that seem to have it all have the same feelings that you and I do. I can't help but think of Robin Williams, and I was so blown away when he had committed suicide and I found out that he had suffered from depression and anxiety because I'd never known that about him. And I was like, God, how? I mean, you think these people have everything, but if you Google how many stars and people that are super mega wealthy battle with the exact same things that you and I do, money's not going to fix our problem. Being skinnier is not going to fix your problem. Being more popular, having more likes on Facebook, none of that's going to fix the problem because that's not where the problem lies. The problem lies with our own minds. Our own minds are telling us that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not strong enough, we're not whatever. And that's what we need to learn to overcome. Because at times our own minds can be a happy thief. It can steal the joy out of our daily life because we beat ourselves up. We are our own worst critics. And you think about, when do these feelings really start to manifest? because we drag them around like a ball and chain, but we kind of keep them in the trunk of our car. But when do they really come out? It's usually during a breakup or when a traumatic event happens in your life, when you're having financial trouble, when you're having some kind of an emotional trauma. I'll never forget several years back that my son and I had to sit down and have a talk because we were just not in a good place. And I finally just asked him, I said, what is it that is so upsetting to you about our relationship? And what he shared with me broke my heart. And I'm going to tell you the end of that story at the end of this video, not to leave you hanging, just that story really gets to me, and I don't want to cry throughout this whole video. So hang around with me till the end and I'll share that. But some of these things can happen with people that we love that are unintentional and unspoken, but just how our mind perceives things that go on with us. I want you to do me a favor right now. This is kind of awkward and weird, but I want you to push pause on this video. But before you do, here's the reason I want you to do that. I want you to go down in the comment section, and if you don't know where that is, if you're on your cell phone, just scroll down about 14 or 15 videos and you're going to find the comment section. I want you to list one thing. If you suffer from 10 or 20, that's fine, but I just want you to list one of your major things that makes you feel inadequate and that you're not good enough. Once you do, then I want you to go back up and I want you to hit the like button to let everyone know that you did it. But the reason I want you to do that is because at the end of the video, we're going to have an exercise that I want us to do to go back and look through the comments. Because we're going to find out that a lot of people around us and a lot of people that are watching this video deal from the exact same feelings that you do. So that's what I'd like you to do, is just to push pause, go down, make your comment, turn it back on, and then we'll get going again. So now I want to talk about 6 ways that we can use to stop those feelings of that we're not good enough, or we're not smart enough, we're not good looking enough, whatever it is. The first thing is going to be stop comparing yourself to other people. We are all unique in our own way, but we have this thing that we learn from a young age, and I keep bringing up my granddaughter, but we constantly watch Disney movies. But I think of even in the Cinderella movie, everyone looks at Cinderella's stepsisters and says, man, what assholes. But then you can look at them from another side and think, they have that feeling of not good enough, not pretty enough. And people around us have those same feelings, and then we have those same feelings. We've got to learn to be kind to one another, but also to be kind to ourselves and quit beating ourselves up, because we're our own worst critic. And we can't compare ourselves to other people because we're not other people, we're ourselves. And we need to concentrate on bettering ourselves to where we feel good about ourselves. And that can only come from giving yourself a break, and quit looking in the mirror and thinking, man, I'm just not pretty enough. And I see that all the time with a lot of times young ladies on Instagram and putting pictures out and trying to see how many likes they get compared to someone else. Stop comparing yourself to someone else, because you are unique and you are wonderful just the way you are. And believe that. And one thing we need to do is to focus on progress and not on perfection, because the world tells us we have to be perfect. Well, guess what? Nothing and no one is perfect. We're not. We need to focus on just progress of getting better and getting better at whatever we're feeling down about ourselves about, getting better with that every day and working on it. But as long as we have that negative feeling, we're not going to work on anything. We're going to stay buried in this hole that we put ourselves in because we feel like we're not good enough. And we've also got to realize that our own inner critic is harder on us than anyone else would ever be. Ever. Would you ever say some of the things to your friends or your family that you say to yourself? You wouldn't. I know I wouldn't. I am my own worst critic. When I'm not living up to Tom Fawkes' own standards, I beat myself up. And you do it. Our mind can be a very convincing liar, especially when we're lying to ourselves. because what we're feeling is just our mind saying you're not good enough. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier. It goes back to maybe something that happened in childhood, something that happened, last week, or something that happens with a person that you're married to. I don't know, whatever your circumstance is. But it gets ingrained in your mind to where you just feel like this is the truth. Well, it's not the truth. It's your mind telling you a lie. It keeps reminding us of failed past, things that we've done in our past that where we didn't succeed. And guess what? Nobody wins all the time. No one wins all the time. I think of a baseball player. They get up to bat 10 times. They strike out 7. You'd call that a failure. But it actually put somebody in the Hall of Fame because they'll bat a 300 batting average because they hit the ball 3 times out of 10. But in life, if we failed 7 times out of 10, we're going to beat the living crap out of ourselves over it. And that's just wrong. It's not wrong. We put so much undue weight on our own shoulders where we shouldn't. And we let others have control of us where we shouldn't. We've got to break the chains of bad relationships. If there's someone in your life that is beating you down, telling you you're not good enough, telling you you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, trying to throw the blame on you because of the reason that they cheated on you or whatever it could be, it's about them, it's not about you. It goes back to the hurting people hurt people. They've got something going on in their life they don't feel good enough about, so they had to go out and prove it to themselves that they were good enough. But they want to deflect it on you to make it look like it's your fault. And a lot of times that happens with narcissistic people, and we're going to talk about that in a later video. But break the chains of those relationships, or else tell that person what's going on, how they're making you feel, and work through it. And I'm not telling you to run out and get massive divorces here. I'm just saying if you're dating someone, or if someone's continually putting you down and you've talked to them about it and things won't change, you need to get out of that relationship. You have to allow yourself to be loved for who you are and not for what someone else wants to make you. Because that's about them, it's not about you. Number 4 is to stop letting circumstances define who you are. We are so much more than our mistakes. I've made countless mistakes. I can't even begin to tell you how many mistakes I've made in my life. But I'm not my mistakes, and you aren't your mistakes. So if we've done things that we're not proud of, or that we have not lived up to our own standards, or even someone else's standards, guess what? We don't have to stay there. Even though our mind tries to keep reminding us of those mistakes, it was just a mistake. People make mistakes. People do things that they shouldn't do. Before we can try to find forgiveness from other people, we have to forgive ourselves. And that is the hardest thing to do at times, is self-forgiveness. And we have to forgive ourselves of things that we've done wrong, and things that if we feel like we've wronged someone else, if we do go to them. Because we are so much more than these negative feelings. We're so much more than how much money we have. We're so much more than the car we drive. We're so much more than the house we live in. We are so much more than how we look to someone else, and the clothes we wear. We are so much more than that. But in today's society, we value all these things that are really meaningless. And I want that to sink into you, because they're meaningless. We place our value on things that are really not valuable at all. You think about the new car that you want, and you can't wait to have this new car because, man, that's really gonna make me look good driving this new car. Well, guess what? In 6 months, it's your old car. It's got its first scratch, and then all of a sudden the newness wears off, and you're back to feeling like crap again. Because we look for things to make us feel happy, when the thing that's really going on is something within us in our mind that we need to fix. That a new car, a new boyfriend, a new dress, a new whatever is not going to fix. I know I've chased things all my life trying to make myself feel better. And man, was that ever the wrong thing to do. Number 5 is that we need to be ourselves. Be who God made you to be. Because that is the biggest thing that we need to learn, is that we are all unique, we're all different, And it's okay to be different. It's okay to be not the most popular in the room. It's okay not to be the most outspoken. It's okay not to be the most beautiful. It's okay. What we need to focus on is watering the green spots. And what I mean by that is if you've got a yard that is coming in and you've got a bunch of dead grass, but then you've got a couple of green spots here and there, do you go out and just stare at the dead grass, and all the while that you're focusing on that dead grass, you're not watering the green grass because there's a drought, and then eventually that green grass dies? But if you water that green grass, guess what? It starts taking over where the dead grass was, and it grows into a beautiful lawn. We need to do that with ourselves. We need to water the green spots. So things that you feel good about yourself, focus on those things rather than focusing on the things that make you feel inadequate and not good enough. Because you yourself need to look in the mirror and be able to live with yourself on a daily basis. Because a lot of times we are the hardest people to live with is ourselves. We've got to remove the mask that we wear to pretend that we are something we're not. I've worn that mask many times. I'll go in and smile and be the life of the party when inside I'm crumbling, and no one knows it because I have that smiley mask on. We got to learn to love ourselves, and that's number 6. So we have to learn to love ourselves. It's going to be hard for other people to love us until we love ourselves. You are lovable, but you cannot be lovable until you love yourself. And you also can't hate your way into loving yourself. And what I mean by that is you can't hate certain things about yourself and expect to feel love out of that, because you can't. You cannot focus on the things that you feel inadequate about. You need to focus on the things that you feel good about yourself. But show yourself some unconditional love that you show other people. You show it to your parents, you show it to your children, you show it to your friends, show it to yourself. Because you deserve that unconditional love that you show other people. And we aren't loved for what we do, we're loved for who we are. So if you feel like, man, the job I have is embarrassing, well, guess what? It's a job. It doesn't define who you are. It doesn't. The car you drive doesn't define who you are. The house you live in doesn't define who you are. You define who you are. So work on you, because that's what's going to change everything. And also remember that, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am enough, because you are. And I want to finish the story that I started to tell you earlier about when my son and I met. And this is the one thing that I promised that I would share with, is one of the struggles that I've dealt with. And my son and I were in a bad spot, and we finally sat down and spoke. And this has been about probably 5 years ago. And he shared something with me that really gouged my heart, because I realized how much I'd hurt him. He said that when he was younger and his mother and I were divorced, that he was on a baseball team. And he was a good baseball player. But he would sit out in the outfield and watch the stands for his dad to show up and cheer him on. Well, through this time of divorce, I wasn't a good dad. I was a bad dad. I was chasing my dreams of being wealthy and my dreams of whatever, and I was leaving my kids on the back burner. And we've gotten over that now, but that's just the truth. I'm going to be honest with you. I ask you to be honest with me and share in the comments. I'm going to be honest with you. I was a shitty father. And my son told me that the less that I would show up, how it made him feel. And he said it made him feel that I was embarrassed of him because he wasn't a good enough ball player. When he told me those words, I broke down, and I still get tearful over it thinking about it. That our actions can make other people feel things, and it's just their own minds making up lies, because my son's mind was lying to him. Me not being there had nothing to do with how good he was at sports. It was just a reflection of how bad I was at being a father. And I've overcome that, and we've overcome that, and we have a great relationship now. But it's it's hard to really define what it feels like when your child says that to you, that you made them feel that way. But maybe some of you feel that way when the person that made you feel that way doesn't even realize it. So go talk to them. Go talk to them about how they make you feel. And you may find out that they had no idea they made you feel that way. And they feel terrible about making you feel that way. I want you to do me another favor. Is go back and look through the comments, and whether you do it now or do it in a couple days after we have time for people to really see this video, I want you to go back and look through the comments of people where they put the one thing that they struggled with. If they have struggled with something that you've struggled with, I want you to hit the like button on their comment, and then I want you to simply put comment on their comment, me too. Because you're going to find out that there is a lot of us that deal with the exact same feelings of inadequacy, or no matter what it is that we've put on this list, we're going to find out that we're not unique in the way that we feel, and we're not in this alone. So do that for me, and also if this is your first time, like I said, joining me and you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Join us on this journey of getting to where we feel better about ourselves and to where we can understand where these feelings are coming from, and that we can grow and live a more productive and happy life. Turn on notifications, which is the little bell, so that you'll be notified every time we upload a new video. And if you found value in this video, simply hit the thumbs up button to let YouTube know that you enjoyed it, so that they can share it with someone else. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for the people that have subscribed, and my hope is that we can grow this channel and share this video. Share this video on your Facebook feed. All you do is hit the share button, because there's probably some people that are on your friends list in your Facebook page that probably need to hear this. That probably need to hear that the way they're feeling, they're not the only ones. So that's the only way this can really get out, is to share it. So until next time, just keep moving forward.